Josh is going to have a really interesting take on this, I think, from the creative side. And then I think Riley and I argued about this on LinkedIn and afterwards. So
Tom, I commented on it, Josh, and then Tom responded to my comment where I just said, love this, and wrote like a 3-paragraph essay.
I was like, really? Do you love this? Yeah, I deleted it. It was too aggressive. I was like, I'll delete it and then we'll talk about it.
It just was like, I didn't even pose an argument. I just said, love it. And he had like a strong opinion about whether or not.
You know that's enough. Yeah, but you know what's funny? By the end of what I wrote, I was like, so I guess I really do completely agree with what you said.
That's kind of where it turned out.
Oh man. Okay, so topic for today is, do ad agencies take themselves too seriously? This is a topic that we got inspired by a great post from Paul Fisher, who's the head of strategy at BBDO in Dublin, big advertising agency you may have heard of. The criticism that he shared is that often ads don't have enough humor or they aren't entertaining enough. So he looked at a sample of data from the Super Bowl, from System 1's top Christmas ads, and then from some awards categories. Super Bowl, of course, 83% made you laugh of the ads. System 1's top Christmas ads, 66% led with laughs. And then when you get into some of the awards and advertising ranked things, Ad Age's top 100 advertising campaigns, 68% made you think. And Cannes Lion Grand Prix, 73% made you think. So he speculated that it's not really that advertisers have a humor or entertainment problem, but rather that advertising awards have a problem. And that advertising agencies want creative that can win more awards, and generally they're more serious topics that win awards. So I kind of wanted to reframe the topic we chose. Does advertising have a humor problem, an entertainment problem? So naturally we'll debate about this and I'll have different perspectives, but that's what the topic is. So start the timer.
I have lots of opinions on this. I will try to limit.
Me too. One of my immediate reactions when I read this post early on was, it makes so much sense that this is a topic because of just the tone of the way things are in the landscape. And there's a couple factors. ROAS is getting continually difficult to drive. It's insanely expensive to drive success. Yep. And so then naturally you start asking yourself the question of like, what do we need to be leading with? Do we lead with, this super data-driven, stricter approach? Or do we think about potentially being more creative and thinking outside the box of, this bag of tricks that's happened for so long? So I feel like it's a very natural tone based on everything that's going on right now in digital.
Yeah, there's a big shift to like the CTV and OTT, which makes it pretty difficult to, generally we've planned video advertising for just huge audiences, and so now it's a little bit more difficult to look and say, well, wait, what if I could tailor an ad to a specific person? So I think that we're kind of maybe at an inflection point with the way some of the creative will be.
Yeah, like I said, I have lots of opinions on this. I think. I'll try to tackle these one at a time. Is there a humor problem, or is there an entertainment issue? I think historically advertisements tend to go entertainment-wise because those tend to be more memorable. However, you've entered a landscape where if everyone is trying to be humorous and memorable, you start to become less memorable. Advertising is really about storytelling. So not every ad needs to be funny. That's not to say that you can't make lots of topics humorous while still getting to a meaningful thing. I'll throw out, it might make a list of mine going into end of year. It's the current Sick Kids Canada campaign that Ryan Reynolds is talking about how terrible children are to raise money for a children's hospital. So you can do it, but it's who are you talking to? What are you trying to get them to understand? Sometimes getting through humorously works. Sometimes you need a different piece. I have to touch on the awards piece. This is an opinion I have had for many a year on awards. A lot of advertising awards tend to look strictly at creative, and 9 times out of 10, I will say whatever the biggest, most well-known brand is by whether it be the biggest, most well-known agency or just someone who happened to land them miraculously wins. I often feel that in awards categories skew to, wow, you got to do something for a big name brand who does this. It must automatically be good. I like some of the awards campaigns. We've entered a couple and won a couple recently that actually looked at the scope of what was included from, the measurement aspect of did it drive results, not just was it a cool visual campaign. So I think that's my narrow stance on.
Yeah. One of my the like reading between the lines of the whole topic and building off of what you said, Josh, your agencies want you to let them run with fun thinking and creative ideas. Your clients and brand partners want you to run intelligently. And so that's also kind of just the healthy tension piece of like, I think everybody wants to be more fun, more exciting, and more interesting, but have it matter and have it be true and authentic to the brand that we're representing.
Yeah, and I wrote down one of the things that I noted was that intelligence that the brands want you to run with looks different depending on the different stakeholders involved. So, the awards problem, I think that agencies care about awards, but unless you're like a super huge big dog working on a really well-known brand, I don't think that that's what agencies are leading with when they come up with their creative. I think that what's happening is you get, groups of people who have tons of different viewpoints, and what ends up being left when everything ends up on the cutting room floor is something that is like pretty conservative sometimes, depending on how the internals of a brand works. And so it's like when you sit and you watch I think an interesting example is the Liberty Mutual, the Emu and Doug. Mm-hmm. Like an executive approved that. Like that's actually, as corny as those commercials are, somebody actually approved a CGI emu and a guy named Doug with a mustache and like their, 80s cop show. So I think if you think about that, if you're a CMO or if you're an executive approving some creative like that, that's a really hard thing for you to say, yeah, let's put this out in the marketplace and see what happens. So it can be difficult to work with some of the different stakeholders who, collectively end up wanting to be conservative.
And I think to dial this back to, or take this back to even what you said, Riley, about like trying to prove ROAS, like it is hard to sell in those kinds of ideas. Your Liberty Mutual ad, Tom, like it's hard to sell. Like there's a lot of gut that goes into that one of, we think this will be impactful and memorable in a good way. Yeah. and
some of those commercials are terrible.
Yeah. Some of those were really weird. I personally like the guy that can't say Liberty Mutual, the like handsome guy that bibbity. But like, I think when you see is the information that drives, or the data that can drive creative, is a beneficial piece. Because I don't want to say that creatives don't sit down and go like, this is going to be my award-winning idea. But sometimes you're just trying to get the idea, the thing that will sell this, the thing that will make this resonate with people. And in that process, there's a voice inside your head often that starts saying, this is really good. This could win something. Don't jinx it, but it's still following that. And I would still say, like, if it came to it and I was like, this could be a really cool award-winning piece, but if it doesn't match what the client needs, doesn't match the story that needs to be told, I'm not going to present it. It still has to support that overall thing. And I think probably where some of this comment came, where Paul from BBDO is saying, is that people feel like it's a rough year right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and we all want to laugh. So when we see something that doesn't make us laugh, it might remind us all too much of how things are right now. So it resonates a little more. It's like, oh man, there's a sad dad sending his daughter off to school. By the way, I hate all of those Super Bowl commercials now that I have children and they're growing up, and it makes me sad. But like, I think that's probably part of it, is that people are seeing that, and it's just feeling like it's just reinforcing what you're seeing on the news, versus like when you see something fun, it's that brief step away, which is why, that's why advertising leans into that.
Yeah.
It's to get you to,
and I think
to take a break. to breathe a sigh.
Yeah. And I think that like, I'm going to try and speak for the three of us and Google as an agency, and you guys kind of correct me where I get this wrong, but I think our advice would be that great advertising should entertain and delight. And Josh, you kind of inspired me to add to that, and it needs to tell the story, not the story. It should tell the story you're trying to tell, and it should entertain and it should delight. Entertainment doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make you laugh. Take a look at any of the Amazon Christmas commercials that have come out in the past 4 years. But I've seen too many. Like, if you tune into the news and watch for 30 minutes, let me know how many ads you see that land on a page with a wall of text and a large 800 number on a white background. And that's doing nothing for anybody, especially in the world where you're starting to get targeted with TV advertising, with streaming TV, OTT, CTV. It's like, that's not going to cut it anymore. That's not going to resonate with your users. So entertain and delight and connect to the story you're trying to tell. I don't know. Did I get any of that wrong? We're way over. Who cares?
No, that was good.
No, I agree. I think that's it. You called it out. Entertaining doesn't mean funny. There is a not small group in our office that loves true crime podcasts. Probably not a lot of laughing going on in those. Never watched them myself, but
hopefully not a lot of laughing going on in those.
Hopefully not. There's a couple people I wonder about. I'm not going to name names.
That's true. Fair.
But yeah, no, I think you nailed it. Yeah, it's telling the right story and entertaining, but entertainment doesn't have to be funny.
Yeah.